Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, a movie which recontextualizes Frankenstein, the classic tale of man trying to defy God and defy death, but it recontextualizes it into a movie about the black experience in America, specifically.
Yeah, this is Frankenstein's set in the projects.
Yes, 100%.
And it is very much its own story, but it still contains that whole someone who creates a monster.
Yeah, and in this case, it's less about defying God so much as what it's like to live life in an environment in which you're surrounded by death. And death that could be preventable.
Yeah.
But the system around you is designed for that death to take place.
Yeah.
And not to prevent it.
Yes.
You have this teenage girl who is trying to resurrect her dead brother who died in a gang-affiliated attack.
Yeah.
She is trying to cure him of the ailment of death by combining his failed body parts with body parts from other people who've died throughout the projects and bringing them back to life via the classic Frankenstein method of, electricity jolted into the body.
Yep.
But unfortunately, like most Frankenstein stories, it doesn't go the way she wants it to.
Yeah.
But in this instance, it's not necessarily because of her and her hubris.
No, her hubris has something to do with it. But
it's there.
That's not where the tragedy comes from.
No, the tragedy is because of the environment itself. The real enemy of this movie isn't her. It isn't even like the gangbangers surrounding her. It's the environment with which they live in.
Yeah.
And the society which continues that environment.
Yeah.
For its own gain.
Yeah. Because they can't get out.
It's a very hard watch. I'm going to say that right here. It is hard to sit through, not because it's not well made. It is fantastically made. It's hard to watch because it's so relatable, even if you haven't lived in that environment.
Yeah. And there is its fair share of like, that's right, you white devil, you.
That's true too.
There's
a little bit of that. I am sitting there going like, oh God, it's my fault.
Yeah.
It's my fault. I'm the monster. Not you, Frankenbro.
Oh my God, there's this one moment in the beginning of the movie where the evil white teacher.
Oh man. It's one of my favorite scenes too.
Yeah. This scene is just basically, he's a bitch.
Yeah.
He's a fucking racist bitch. And like, the thing is the girl being a little disruptive in class? Yeah.
Sure. She's a very outspoken person.
Yeah. And the response is completely out of balance.
Exactly. How she reacts to that and how she handles it is completely terrible.
Yeah. And in the middle of this, they discover that this black family has a German last name.
Oh, yeah.
And Lady's like, oh, that's interesting. Why do you have a German last name? And the dad's like, some German slave master branded that on one of my ancestors.
Yep. And the German name thing is obviously like a hint towards Frankenstein. Obviously. Yeah. It's never stated in the movie, but that's an Easter egg. It's an Easter egg for all of you Frankenstein fans out there.
Yeah. There are quite a lot of them.
There are, actually, yeah. There's nods to things in the book that aren't always in the movie adaptations, too.
Correct.
So, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a very, very, very good retelling of the story, and the ending is what changes it, because she has all of the faults of Dr. Frankenstein until the end.
Yeah, this has a very different ending than the normal Frankenstein story. It's weirdly a more hopeful ending, which you're kind of surprised at, given how dark the rest of the movie is.
Yes.
But I'm not going to spoil that yet. We'll talk about that in the spoiler section.
Yeah, I will say this, though. They do use the line, it's alive, but it's... The context is very different.
It's completely recontextualized.
Yeah.
This entire movie does a really good job of recontextualizing elements from the Frankenstein story into this new environment. Right down to the fact that Frankenstein's constantly like arguing with the academic world.
Yes.
But in this case, it is a teenage girl in the projects arguing with the school system.
Yep.
I fucking love the dad in this movie. What I like about the dad in this movie is that he's a very layered character. The archetype in every single movie ever made, where you have the dad who's either a drug addict or an alcoholic or addicted to some sort of substance, and is not there for the kids because he's in mourning because of a death that happened.
Right.
Whether it's his wife or in this case, his son. But in this instance, he is in mourning. He is addicted to the drugs that are going around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But he is 100% always there for his daughter.
Yeah.
He is not a deadbeat.
No.
He goes to work, clocks in, he makes sure he comes and takes her home from school and is there for her when she needs it. And then at night, when everyone's asleep, he shoots up.
Yeah, they don't even tell you what it is exactly he's doing.
No, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It could be crack, it could be cocaine, it could be heroin. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's the drug of the neighborhood. It's the opiate of the masses.
Yeah, it's the one that's going around.
It's a thing that is being used in order to help certain people in the neighborhood survive while other people are suffering from it.
Yes. Yeah, it's self-medication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a really well-made movie. I highly recommend it. My only criticism of the movie is it's obvious because of its low budget, it shied away from showing too much of the monster.
Yeah.
And I found myself really wanting to get a good look at it, right? Now, I understand part of the thing is that the monster doesn't just represent her brother. It does in the story.
Yeah.
But it also is supposed to represent every single black man who is killed by this environment.
Yeah. When he becomes the monster, he is just a big black guy in a hoodie that covers his face.
Exactly.
Thus, you're like, no, that's the image of the monstrous black man.
And he has his face is obscured in shadows at times because he's often going out at night. So it's that image of the guy that the cops shoot all the time.
Yeah, the mythical character that white people are afraid of.
And so I understand why they don't give us a good look at his face or his eyes until towards the end of the movie.
Yeah,
and even then it's brief.
Yeah, but I wish towards the end we had gotten that one good shot.
I really wanted the look, especially in the scene when he's finally confronting his sister.
Yes.
To get like an actual close up on his face so that we could see his reaction with her reaction, as opposed to just seeing her reaction.
Yes.
That's my one complaint with the movie, but I also understand that this movie was dealing with obviously a minuscule budget.
They do a lot with the little.
Yeah, they do.
And because it's Frankenstein, when they do the After Effects lightning, the story hides the flaw of the special effect, because you're like, yeah, it's alive,
I'll say this, compared to something like the Highlander lightning effects.
Oh yeah, it's way better.
It looks better than that. So
yeah.
If you can handle the Highlander lightning effects, you'll handle the effects in this movie.
Yeah. It's perfectly fine, But this is also not a movie about the special effects.
No, it is not. It is not. This movie is about the generational trauma of being born into an environment which is not only designed for you to fail, it's designed for you to die.
Yeah.
And about one girl's quest to cure that.
Yeah. Oh, man. One of the most super relatable scenes, for some reason, is just when they're sitting on the porch.
Oh, yeah.
They're just talking about what's happening in the project.
Just normal life in the project.
Yeah, right? Exactly. You're just like, oh, man, no, that...
Also, the sassy little sister is amazing in that scene.
Yeah, the bratty little sister. Where you're just sort of
A, B, C,
D.
Reading the alphabet with the most sass.
And, and the mom going oh, you're gonna get it.
It was actually the sister. It was her sister that was getting mad at her.
Yeah. You're gonna get it. I'm telling you right now.
I love that little girl. That little girl's great. She is the equivalent of the little girl in the Universal Frankenstein movie, but very different outcome.
Yeah.
Than that.
Yeah, different things happen to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of the soundtrack is classical music.
Yes, because it's still Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, it's German classical music.
So we're so used to the German classical music being associated with Frankenstein, they just straight up do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of German style filmmaking in this thing, right down to German Impressionism and minimalism.
Oh, I love the use of shadows at certain moments.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you just see the monster's shadow on the wall, like it's fucking Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so good.
It's one of those, I wanted to see more of the monster, but I was okay with the way they handled it.
Yeah, and of course I'm watching the whole thing going God damn it, this, I'll never be this good.
The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. The title is a mouthful, but it perfectly sums up the movie.
Yeah. It should be coming out on Shudder pretty soon.
It will be. If you don't want to wait for it to be on Shudder, though, it is currently available to rent on just about every other platform. So if you have Amazon, you can rent it on there. It'll be about $5 or $6. Mm-hmm. It's worth the rental, and it's worth supporting this movie because I really want to see, the movies the filmmakers behind this make next.
Yeah, this makes a great companion with the recent Candyman.
Yeah, actually. They definitely kind of are talking about similar ideas.
Yeah, they're talking about very, very similar ideas.
Absolutely. So if you liked The Candyman from 2021,
Yeah.
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 If you liked that Candyman, you'll probably enjoy this movie. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, let us move on to the spoilers. In this movie, the reason why the monster is a monster, not because it came out wrong, but because society as a whole sees it as a monster.
Yeah.
And so it behaves that way.
Yeah, making it much closer to the original Mary Shelley.
Exactly.
You know?
So every time like a cop looks at him and just assumes he's up to something wrong and that he's a bad guy, they think he's a monster, he's going to act like a monster.
Yeah.
Every time one of the gangbangers shows up and tries to like attack him or his sister and they think he's scary and a monster, they behave that way. When his own family sees him and is frightened by his appearance, he behaves like a monster. He is a reflection of the environment around him.
Yeah.
Like a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
He's just parroting what's the energy that's being sent back to him.
Yeah. He is a dark reflection of the child projects.
Now, she does kind of conclude that part of the reason for that is he was brought back long after his death, but she figures out that she could fix this by resurrecting people immediately after their death.
Yeah.
So, this movie ends in a gory bloodbath in which the monster systematically kills everyone in her life, including the gangbangers that are making her life miserable, but as well as like her awesome dad.
Yeah.
It looks like the movie's building up to a very sad, tragic end of like
everyone's fucking dead.
Where and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it if the movie was just going to blame her for trying to do this, because I don't think she's at fault for trying to do this. It makes sense why she's trying to do this.
Yeah.
But she realizes that she can bring them all back if she brings them back immediately after he's killed them. And so she does.
Yeah.
The movie ends with her resurrecting them. And she has successfully cured death.
Yes.
It cured the ailment within her environment.
Yeah.
So it has a much more hopeful ending. But this is after everyone's just fucking slaughtered in brutal ways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a super nuanced movie too.
Absolutely. Like the gangbanger who's kind of the main antagonist for most of the movie, his turnaround by the end of the movie is really well done.
Yeah.
Where he goes from being this threatening force that like forces her to make drugs for him.
Yeah, to cook his drugs.
Because she's a scientist. To, finding out that he's basically gangbanging because of his sick mother that he's taking care of.
Yeah.
I don't think they specify if it's his mother or his grandmother, but older
female relative.
Lady that he's taking care of.
That moment where you discover that the drug lord was the guy that sent the brother out to shoot the dude that ultimately killed him.
And he's in mourning about that too.
Yeah. He's like, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have told him to do it.
But what I love about it is that he, more than any other character in this movie, is a reflection of the brother.
Yeah.
He is the character who became a monster in order to survive his environment because it's what his environment demanded of him.
Yeah.
And it's the only path he was given.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's actually really interesting about this movie. While there are scenes in which the monstrous brother fights with some cops, there's not as many scenes about that. It's more about the characters within the projects than the characters that are outside the projects, except for that scene with the teacher.
Yeah, the scene in the teacher is the one scene that's not in the projects proper.
Which I was sad the teacher was never killed by the monster, and I really wanted to see her bite it, because you hate her more than anyone in the movie.
Oh, God, yeah. The only problem I have with that is I feel like maybe that would have interrupted the tone of the film.
It would have.
Because you would have been like,
yeah! It would have made me feel good, but it would have been a detriment to the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
I agree. Every time the little sister-in-law is involved, she's always hilarious. She is not killed by the monster. In fact, she's the one character in this entire family environment who is not killed by the monster.
Yeah. The one person who interacts with him that isn't killed by him.
Because, much like the little girl in every adaptation of Frankenstein, it is the one character that doesn't treat him like a monster.
Yeah, and in this one, it works.
Yep. So anyway, any final thoughts on the movie?
Oh, when you get to the end and they say, it's alive.
Yes!
Oh, man, you're like, that's right.
That's right. That's right. Magnificent. Yeah, I was tearing up by the end of this movie. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like that scene where the little boy dies halfway through the movie.
Oh my God.
He's not killed by the monster. He's killed by the cops.
Yeah.
In a shootout with some of the other gangbangers.
Yeah, the little kid who's like, I'm going to be dead soon anyway.
But they don't show this. you hear it from the perspective of someone living in the neighborhood, listening to it outside. And then we cut to the paramedics trying to resurrect him, and it's not working.
Yeah.
And you see immediately through that why she's trying to do what she's trying to do.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie. You guys should all check it out when you get a chance. The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. Ask for it by name.
Yes.
And with that said, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me on YouTube, where I stream throughout the week at The Count Jackula Show. You can find that. You can also follow me on Twitter, which is Counting Jack. You can also follow me on TikTok at Real Count Jackula. And I would love to see you on all of those platforms.
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. And trust us when we both say we're gonna both be needing these Patreons in the coming months, given certain changes in our life. So if you want to help us out, please,
now's
please,
the time to do it.
Check out our Patreons. We could definitely use the extra cash. If you made it this far into the video, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag It's Alive. Use the hashtag It's Alive, that way I know. That way Jack knows. That way the whole world knows you resurrected the dead corpse of your brother. Good on ya. I'm proud of ya. Peace out.